Deep breaths, everyone. It's over. Clemson's 5-5, and welcome to the aftermath. In a 20-19 victory, I think I can say that I've seen it all. David, Clemson appeared dead in the water, and then it wasn't. Clemson appeared dead in the water, and then it wasn't. Clemson appeared dead in the water. Deep breaths, guys. And now the Tigers are going bowling. They got Furman next week to basically have their bowl game coronation in that sense. If there's a game that encapsulates everything about the 2025 season, it's tonight.
Well, first of all, you just need to catch your breath a second there. You sound like me trying to line up for a hot dog. Anyway, yeah, this was wild and wacky, and you were sitting there wondering how is Clemson going to figure out a way to lose this. It was Louisville that figured out a way to lose it. Clemson figured out a way to win it. The coaching staff finally got out of their own way and gave it to their 230-pound running back on the goal line instead of trying to get cute and punched it across. You know, both teams, Dabo Swinney said it perfectly after the game, both teams made a lot of mistakes, both teams with a lot of blunders. Clemson just 1 for 13 on third down. All of the dropped passes, the bizarre play calling, and I do mean bizarre play calling at times that was horrific. But Louisville with the 10 penalties, the 2 missed field goals, the missed extra point, the silly penalties that really cost them on a drive where Clemson has, you know, they have the bad snap on the punt. Jack Smith can't get it off. Louisville takes over at the Clemson 23 and then gets pushed back. False start penalty, and then a play later, unsportsmanlike penalty where DeMonte Capehart, pretending he's a Duke basketball player in many ways.
Give that man an Oscar.
Taking the flop there to draw the flag. Great play by him. And somehow Clemson finds a way to win.
Somehow. And I think when Peter Woods had the botched execution at the 1, my mind, it wandered, David. It wandered back to Chapman, Pendergrass, and Duke. And us sitting here on this podcast going, Clemson getting cute at the goal line is going to cost them twice in 3 games. And you got to give credit to this defense. Time and time again, it was kicked in the teeth either due to its own play or having to be put in really just bad situations. It's just flat out put it, really bad situations. And they pulled through. They forced a punt after a disastrous 4th and 1 stop. They forced the 2 missed field goals. Someone had to get a stop at some point. And I think I had put out that Louisville's formula was almost similar to 2024. Just run the ball and give the back, named ironically enough Brown, the rock and see what happens. And ultimately, Clemson finds a way to hang on, as you said. Man, I'm still trying to figure out after Jack Smith fumbled the punt, I thought that's a tough moment for a kid that's been rock solid all year to end it like this. Hold your horses. Man, it stinks that this team's going to be 4-6. Hold your horses, David. So many opportunities. I would love to talk quickly about how we've talked a lot about how this team's a mess. That's not a secret. And I think everyone, if you asked them, Clemson 5-5, not the season anyone envisioned. And the words effort, heart, are they checked in or not? Are they checked out? That certainly comes into question at this era. And what I saw tonight, foundation, I think this was a game that kind of proved him right in a weird way, where it's so messy, but you keep battling, you keep fighting, and sure, push back, David, if you disagree. But I think that this showed this team's resilience and heart, that the culture with Swinney, it's still there. It hasn't gone away. Maybe the results are pretty lopsided one way or the other, and certainly decisions need to be altered. But I think the heart of what Swinney tries to do with Clemson, it's still there.
Now, let me get into some stats really fast. Louisville had 169 rushing yards through the third quarter, averaging 7.3 yards per rush. In the third quarter alone, Louisville averaged 11.1 yards per rush and had 100 rushing yards. In the fourth quarter, 7 rushes for 2 yards. After that disastrous punt, remember they had the false start penalty, so now it's 1st and 15. And then they try another stretch play with Keywan Brown. He loses 2, and now you're 2nd and 17, but then there's the penalty at the end of that play where the guy gets called for the unsportsmanlike conduct, and now all of a sudden you're at 3rd and 29 or something. And that's how this defense was able to hold on. Sammy Brown with 11 tackles. He was everywhere. The linebackers are probably going to look at this film and say, we did not have a great night. They will be right. I think the secondary was really good tonight for the first time in a long time. Secondary played really well. Everybody's going to remember, Barnes getting run over by Keywan Brown. I thought the secondary played well. Defensive line got pressure when they needed to. Just 1 sack of Miller Moss, but it was critical. It's a defense that really responded, and you are correct. It was all about heart. A lot of these guys, and I put that in my grades, that I added another category for tonight for heart. A lot of these guys who are now, just a few games away from going to the NFL, they could quit. They could say, I'm done. I'm not going to put my body on the line anymore. And they came out and they performed. And, I look as far as Avion Terrell. That kid is a baller, and he goes out and he sticks his nose in there. He forced a fumble tonight, all-time leader for forced fumbles for a defensive back at Clemson. How about that? What a great stat. Now tied with some really good names in forced fumbles in Clemson history. That's a kid who's going to the NFL. There's no doubt about it. And he's still out there putting it on the line. And, Dabo's right. And then he got a little Dabo-ish at the end of the game. Ain't no quitting me. Ain't no quitting this team. He deserves it. It was a great night for the Tigers to kind of come away with a win. Now you get an extra day to prepare for Furman. And you said it. They should beat Furman and go on to bowl eligibility. They can put up a tombstone again over there in the corner near the indoor practice facility. And, then prepare for South Carolina. And South Carolina may be a team that's looking for bowl eligibility when they play Clemson.
Before we get back to this video, we'd like to thank the title sponsor for this podcast, Newton, Scott, and Associates. This team is headlined by Jeff Scott, former Clemson assistant coach and 2-time national champion, as well as Eric Newton, a longtime local and trusted real estate partner. These two are teaming up to provide a first-class experience for all Clemson fans. Whether you're looking to buy, sell, or build in the upstate area of South Carolina, you can trust Newton, Scott, and Associates. Choose the same team that Clemson coaches are selecting when they're looking to buy, sell, or build, all the way from Tigertown to Lake Keowee. For more information, you can find them at newtonscottsc.com or by calling the number 864-722-9062. That's 864-722-9062. Now, let's get back to the video. It's the first ranked win in the regular season since Notre Dame in 2023 when the Irish were in the top 10. It's been a while. And that's also to the quality of opponents Clemson's had to play in the ACC overall. And they have that win over SMU in the ACC championship, but wins like these have come few and far between for the Tigers as of late. So certainly you mentioned that word tombstone. It's going to be a win that's going to be memorable in a season that I think fans have wanted to forget.
It will be, and this will be a game I don't think anybody's going to forget anytime soon. Just wild and wacky, and you look at the big plays. Clemson still had 3 big passing plays, 4 big rushing plays. Louisville had 11 chunk plays, including just 7 rushes where they had 128 yards. They had rushes of 23, 14, 21, 11, 25, 24, and 10, and still only managed 2 yards in that fourth quarter. And you go, what else can happen? And then I get critical of Clemson's coaches, but Jeff Brom, so they have, a really good field goal kicker, and he clunks the extra point, and then he misses the long field goal, which was on, in my opinion, a high snap. And then a shorter field goal to take the lead, and you switch kickers. And this is the guy that's only used to kicking the long ones. Both coaching staffs are going to be kicking themselves after this one. But Clemson's going to be the one that says that they get the win. They're now 9-1 all time against Louisville. They have never lost at Louisville at that stadium, no matter the name, whether it's Papa John's or L&N. Louisville now out of the running for an ACC title game appearance. Clemson, of course, out of it. Tigers now get to, again, prepare for Furman and then South Carolina at the end of the year and then see where you go. And I'll say this, there have been some bowl predictions for Clemson that have been, Birmingham or something like that. If this team can run the table and go 7-5, we'll see. Could be a little bit better bowl game out there.
Maybe we're not going to Birmingham. Maybe it's Jacksonville or
San Diego.
Maybe there's some destinations now in play for Clemson where it felt like this was probably the game that if Clemson lost, you could probably chart bowl hopes to a pretty low percentage, just because you never know what you're going to get in a rivalry game. Clemson could still lose to South Carolina, but you have that extra game in play. And talking to Tristan Lee earlier this week, he had mentioned that these seniors are on borrowed time at this point. Guys like Cade Klubnik, guys like Avion Terrell, who's going to the NFL, Peter Woods, who's going to the NFL. There are players who this was their last ACC game. It's going to be their last game at home. But they've got that now in their back pocket that they're going to have guaranteed a few more weeks. And we had talked about the importance of a win here to clinch that bowl game because you're going to get those practices now. You're going to get to see Gideon Davidson a few more times. You're going to get to see someone like Corian Gibson, who started tonight, a few more times. This is very important in terms of where they want to be this offseason, what evaluations they want to make even further in 2026. There's a lot of critical pieces that ultimately could determine foundationally where this team ends up lying.
And this is a team that now they do. They get that extra time. You hope that you get the win against Furman and can get bowl eligible, and you figure out a lot of the key pieces. But that's all down the road. And tonight, Clemson can head home. They'll hit a charter or the Delta flight back to Greenville-Spartanburg, and they will be in bed probably before any of us. And they can sit back and watch college football tomorrow. There's a lot of great kicks at Saturday at noon. And prepare for the final two games of the regular season. And I don't know that a lot of us thought this team would be 5-5 after that loss to Duke, but here they are.
Here they are indeed. We'll have this out early Saturday morning for your digestion. So enjoy a sleep after a win. Enjoy a bowl season now for Clemson. And we'll have more on this, Furman, South Carolina, and much more as the press box turns into a frenzy at the right time, I guess. Guys, thank you as always for tuning in. Subscribe for more. God bless y'all. Have a good one.